Hello and a warm welcome to the national news on Star Television, Channel 21. I am Yesi and it's Halloween. First, the headlines. Sierra Leone has on Monday, 8th March, received the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines shipped via the COVAX facility and were received by the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Augustine Denby.
The COVAX facility has made a commitment to provide vaccines for up to 20% of the population of the country.
For Freetown City Council to maintain effective and sustainable service delivery, residents of the Freetown municipality should pay property rates and business licenses tax, according to Mayor Yvonne Akisoya.
I think the first thing I need to remind everyone is that over 83% or 83% of properties in Freetown are going to be paying an annual rate of 500,000 or less.
And in sports, the Sierra Leone Cricket Association has begun its annual Cricket ODI Premier League with 14 teams competing across the country. Those were the headlines. And now for the news in detail. Sierra Leone has on Monday, 8th March, received the first batch of 96,000 doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford COVID-19 vaccines shipped via the COVAX facility, a partnership between the governments of Sierra Leone, CEPI, Gavi, and the WHO, which is aimed at ensuring equitable distribution of COVID-19 vaccines globally. The vaccines were received by the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Augustine Denby. Let's have the details.
Working in partnership with UNICEF as well as the World Bank, civil society organizations, manufacturers, and others. COVAX is part of the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator, a groundbreaking global collaboration to accelerate development, production, and equitable access to COVID-19 tests, treatment, and vaccines. The COVAX facility has made a commitment to provide vaccines for up to 20% of the population of the country. In the first half of 2021, a total of 528,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine have been assigned to Sierra Leone. We've also received from the Chinese government 200,000 vials of COVID-19 vaccines, the Verocell inactivated SARS-CoV-2 vaccine, and 201,000 pieces of disposable syringes to go with it. We're also expecting to receive 41,000 doses of the AstraZeneca product from the African Union. When all is said and done, Sierra Leone will have in a decent shape with over 760,000 doses of vaccines in the next few weeks. The next major challenge will be getting these important products into the hands of Sierra Leone. The country will start to roll out the vaccines in the coming weeks to ensure that the population is protected from the complications of COVID-19 infection. The country has finalized the national COVID-19 vaccination deployment plan, and the vaccines will be rolled out over an extended period as more vaccines become available. As a Ministry of Health, in collaboration with NACOVAC, we will set up the systems to ensure that the vaccines are provided quickly to to the people of the country. The rollout strategy has been finalized by the technical teams of the MOHS in collaboration with our technical partners including WHO, UNICEF, CDC, CHI, ICAP, NACOVAC, and the various technical committees. Therefore, patience is required as we try to prioritize the most vulnerable in our populations in the initial phase.
That we are only safe if everyone is safe. It is thus in every country's national interest to work for universal access to COVID-19 vaccines as a global public good. Yes, the ambitions for now are a bit realistic, aiming to reach 20% of vulnerable population, but the aspiration is to have universal access to COVID-19 vaccines. So the arrival of this first batch of COVID-19 vaccines in Sierra Leone under the COVAX facility is truly a testimony to the power of global solidarity in response to an unprecedented global health and development crisis. Strong international solidarity is similarly required to address other pressing global challenges, such as the climate crisis that threatens our quest for sustainable development. So it is our hope that as COVAX is rolled out in Sierra Leone and across the world, and as momentum picks up and we begin to see the impact of this global effort, that this sort of international solidarity will be applied to other global challenges that confront the world today.
The global response to this global challenge. Certainly not in my lifetime have we seen such a global health challenge such as COVID-19. But we all know, sadly, it is not the first, nor will it be the last. And I think the precedent of the COVAX facility and the ongoing and accelerating supply, not just to Africa but globally, is illustrating is that international and global collaboration is the only effective way to deal with these pandemics. So I pay tribute to all of my colleagues, to our UN community, to our partners in the government of Sierra Leone, for getting us to this point today, where we're seeing the first, I repeat, the first delivery of the vaccine. There will be more to come. And it's a hugely important milestone, but as my colleague from the European Union said just now, this is a continuing piece of work and a continuing illustration of our partnership.
The mayor of the Freetown municipality, Mayor Yvonne Akisoya, has said for council to maintain effective and sustainable service delivery, residents of the Freetown municipality should pay property rates and business licenses tax. Mayor Akisoya said monies received from property rate and business license goes towards providing essential services such as the refurbishment of schools, furniture and rehabilitation. Moses Ojukamara reports.
Property tax is a municipal tax levied by countries, cities or special tax districts on most types of real estate, including homes, businesses and parcels of land. The amount of property tax owed depends on the appraised fair market value of the property, as determined by the property tax assessor. While speaking to this medium, Mayor of the Freetown municipality, Yvonne Akisoya, outlined reasons why it's essential for residents of the municipality to pay their property rates and business license.
I think the first thing I need to remind everyone is that over 83% or 83% of properties in Freetown are going to be paying an annual rate of 500,000 or less. In fact, 38% will be paying 100,000 for the entire year. 100,000 for the entire year, you divide that by 12. That's less than 10,000 per month. This is your contribution to enable your city, our city, to be swept, to enable us to invest in schools. Furniture is one of the major challenges in most municipal schools, to enable us to ensure that we have the public toilets that people are talking about, that we maintain the cemeteries. the reality of life is that everything costs something, and we all live in this city. And the only way that we can transform our city is by making our contribution. I noticed that when the budget was read back in December, I think it was, or late November, a marriage certificate is 1.8 million. That's 3 times more than what 83% of householders will be paying. And this is being paid over, it's for a period of a year. Of course, we want residents to pay as quickly as possible so that we can continue to work, because without rates, we can't deliver services. And one thing that I'm really grateful for is that in the almost 3 years that we've been in office, that I've been mayor, that we can point to the developments, we can point to the investments. A lot of those have been done using donor funding, but that's not sustainable. What we're going to raise now will help us to ensure that we can run our city. So we're not relying on DFID's money to sweep our streets, because we are Freetonians living on those streets, walking on those streets. DFID taxpayers are paying their tax in their country to have their streets swept. But we, of course, where you have development financing coming in and doing big things.
Madam Sawyer said, as the journey to transform Freetown continues, residents should also be aware of their participation in this desired transformation, citing the social contract theory.
Okay, so with business owners that are in properties, they will receive their demand notes the same time the property rates are going out. Business owners who are what we call itinerant business owners, portfolio business owners, so they don't operate out of a building, they maybe they operate out of their home, mainly people who just do contracts and they don't actually have those sort of business people they can come at any time, and they will be issued with a business license. But for those who operate out of businesses, those business licenses are going out now. Our expectation is that you will also contribute. We really want to have a situation in this city where businesses thrive. And your thriving as a business also has a lot to do with the environment in which you're operating. So now, with you all paying your business rates, paying your property rates, we will have more boots on the ground. We'll be able to get more patrol. We'll introduce a vehicular patrol as well. So we've got plans of what the funds will go towards. Mainly sanitation, education, the environment. When I talk about the environment in this context, I'm thinking particularly of cemeteries, markets, public toilets, enforcement of the council bylaws, from noise pollution to littering to street trading, working together with partners such as the Traders Council and the interreligious community and the stakeholders, so that we are able to address the needs of city residents. But this will only happen if we comply.
She concluded on the note that residents in Freetown have started to receive their 2021 rate demand notices for property rates and business license, and encouraged that upon receiving your rate demand notice, payments can be made through the banks indicated on the rate demand notices, which includes Rokel Commercial Bank, Eco Bank, Zenith Bank, and Standard Chartered Bank, all branches inclusive of City Hall branch. For Star News in Freetown, I am Moses Oju Kamara.
If you've just joined us, this is the national news on Star Television, Channel 21. The West African Women's Network, as part of this year's celebration of the International Women's Day, has organized a symposium and award ceremony to recognize and appreciate outstanding women in society. Aisha Kamara takes up the story.
As a way of celebrating the International Women's Day, the West African Women's Network, Sierra Leone chapter, organized a symposium in order to recognize the role played by women in various facets of life.
That will dwell into the next aspect of my theme, which is mental health. We've not taken into consideration what is happening to some of these people. Just yesterday, somebody narrated a very sad story to me. How a woman, because she's taking microcredit, and she couldn't pay back because of these lockdowns. She was not able to trade as much. And I hear that these people who do carry it, I don't know how it is, they're like Shylocks. They come after you for their money. And this woman has been so disturbed, she's even behaving like she's mental. Talking about mental illnesses, we know about the statistics in other countries, we don't know about ours. But it's not just drug related, it's not just because these people are idle or they are doing something. Sometimes these incidents, and I want to say it and say it clearly, that there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. Just anything, just a little thing can trigger you. So what are we going to do in this period, during this COVID? During the Ebola, I know what I did as a person, as Deputy Vice Chancellor in Yala University.
One of the panelists, Dr. Gilpin, spoke from the economic point of view about the frameworks for women and how women are challenged during the coronavirus pandemic.
Pandemics. So it's essential to understand that women's role is vital for economic development. All right, studies have shown that, generation model has shown that the more women get involved in society, the more women contribute to economic growth, the faster development for the economy. And it's also a fact that the woman's role in the family also helps get the kids to understand the need for education, the need for acting right, the need for growing straight, and that also helps economic development going forward. But when we have a pandemic, what happens to the women? What are the key things that really bring the women to a level where inequality becomes more glaring and becomes more prevalent? These things actually impact women and girls more than it does impact men. And we can see quite a number. You know, not only women will be impacted, but their families, their communities, and societies at large. Because women have a significant role to play in these subsets. So once there is a pandemic, women become the vulnerables, all right? And they face a lot of issues. And these issues have to do with things like the ability to walk, the ability to earn, the ability to be attacked, domestic violence, the ability to be the direct respondent of stress from the male, and also the ability to be able to go out and help. It is said that women experience a lot of violence during COVID-19 lockdowns, all right, a lot. So even the WHO has to make a poster like this. If you experience violence during COVID-19, reach out, call, and seek help. Because women suffer in silence a lot. And when the man is stressed at home, and he has to work, the woman is also stressed at home, she becomes the end result of that anger. And so there had to be a response for that. So one impact was the response to domestic violence against women, which was quite prevalent during the COVID-19.
The communications person for West African Women's Network, Ms. Caroline Tini Lamin, concluded by underscoring the ultimatum of West African Women's Network and added that women, no matter what, should continue to be strong, as women are more stronger on the inside than on the outside. Star News in Freetown, Aisha Kamara.
And now to round up the national news, let's turn our attention to sport. The Sierra Leone Cricket Association has begun its annual Cricket ODI Premier League with 14 teams competing across the country. Let's have the details.
The Sierra Leone Cricket Association has on Saturday, the 6th of March 2021, kickstart the National Cricket ODI Premier League with 14 teams competing across the country. The aim of the competition, according to the Chief Executive Officer, Francis Trevor Samora, is for the association to spot out raw talent that will, in the future, represent the country at national and international competition, and also to establish the game in other parts of the country.
This is part of our 2021 planned operational activities. The ODI is a format that was playing before the introduction of the T20. But for the past 10 years, we've not been concentrating on the ODI format. We've only been playing the T20 and T10. But now that the senior men's team, normally when they get to international tournaments, especially if they qualify for global events, they will quickly be crushed out of the tournament. And so the ICC advised or instructed that we should put the ODI as part of our domestic structure. So, which is why we are here today. And the ODI is also important because the youth team, the under-19 team, they are only playing ODI. They are not playing T20. So the ODI is very, very important for our youth team, and also now very, very important for the Patriots, which is the senior men's and women's team. This tournament, by the time we are coming to conclusion or concluding the tournament, it will have cost the Sierra Leone Cricket Association something like 300 to 400 million euros, taking into consideration the cost of the match balls. The cheapest match ball you have is like $20, and you are using two balls per day, per match. You are using 2 match balls per match, and there will be something like 42 matches. You will have to be paying umpires, scorers, public relations and marketing, giving the teams seed money to support the teams. The clubs have been very, very contributing to cricket development over the past decades, and we thought it fit to come in and support the clubs, because cricket is like all the clubs are spending money, are investing for the good of the country. They are not getting anything in return. So all clubs that are involved in cricket, they are just doing it to support cricket, to support the development of cricket for the good of our nation state, Sierra Leone. So we will be giving the clubs seed money. Each club, 14 clubs in total. There will be another expenses that will be covered. So at the end of the day, this tournament will cost the Sierra Leone Cricket Association something like between 300 to 400 million euros. And we are looking forward to support from our sponsors. Of course, Mercury is one of our sponsors. The ICC, of course, is the biggest sponsors of the Sierra Leone Cricket Association, and the government of Sierra Leone, of course, is the principal sponsor of Sierra Leone Cricket, and also like 2020 community cricket in the UK, Make It Happen. We have so many sponsors that we are looking forward not only for this league but for other leagues that are scheduled for this 2021 operations.
Daniel Koroma, the board secretary of the Sierra Leone Cricket Association, said as association, they want to develop young talent that will give a facelift to the country, also place them as competitors among other nations when it comes to cricket.
We've been training since NACOVAC lifted the ban on sporting activities, and owing to the fact that the ICC tournament, both the U19 senior and female teams has been deferred to August, September and November respectively, we decided to hold our leagues so as to keep the players fit and informed in order to participate well in the upcoming tournaments. As you can see, today we are starting our league, and it's an ODI format, and the first game is between Kent Cricket Club and Regent Olympics, and the match is right on its way now. We are talking about 15 teams, and they will have to play themselves in a round-robin basis, and then look out for the winners. It's a single leg. It's not an women away basis. It's a single leg round-robin base, and at the end, the team who emerges with the highest points emerges as the winner. Over the years, there has been a challenge with regards to equipment, and it's still a challenge. But we say thanks to MCC, Make It Happen, Sydney Thunder, and other cricketing clubs outside Sierra Leone that support us with cricketing gears year in, year out. In turn, we use those equipment to be shared among clubs, because this part of the world, cricketing equipment are so expensive to an extent we can't afford one easily. Therefore, we help them as we receive them from overseas so as to aid the teams in terms of cricketing equipment. Well, in cricket, they say let cricket always be the winner. So we expect every other team to play the game in the true spirit of the game and ensure that they give their ultimate best, and at the end of the day we see the best out of every player so that we'll be able to select the best players to represent our country.
The Sierra Leone Cricket Association is the body that governs and regulates all cricket-related issues across the country and are willing to showcase the country through the sport to the wider world. For Star TV Sport, George Elliott Sam reporting.
Many thanks to the sports desk for putting that report together. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you in today's edition of the National News on Star Television, Channel 21. I am Yessi Ernest Hallowell. Many thanks for watching, and do continue to stay with us.